Hey everybody, this is April and it's a beautiful day in Washington DC, so I thought I would come down to the Franklin Delano Roosevelt Memorial. Franklin Delano Roosevelt was our 32nd president, and right now we are looking at a statue of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He is sitting in a wheelchair, and the reason why he's sitting in a wheelchair is because he had polio, which left him wheelchair stricken. He built his first wheelchair, guys, from a kitchen chair and tricycle wheels. So pretty ingenious for the 32nd president. And again, like I said, it is a beautiful day in DC, so I thought I would come visit the Franklin Delano Roosevelt Memorial. He was president from 1933 to 1945, as it says on this wall right here. Now, this memorial is comprised of 4 rooms and an outer room. When you go into each room, it will let you know the term, as evidenced down here. Oh, great, Stan. I'm glad you're enjoying. It's so nice here in DC. I thought I would come out and view some memorials. The one thing about Franklin Delano Roosevelt, one of his famous speeches was, or one of his famous phrases was, the only thing to fear is fear itself. So in this first room right here, on the wall, is the only thing to fear is fear itself. Now this picture right here in the first room is of his inauguration, his first inauguration. He was the only president to be elected more than 2 times. He was elected 4 times. So we left the first room. We're going over to the second room. And the second room talks about the Great Depression. And this room is one of the most popular rooms for people to take pictures in. And we'll see why shortly. So as we approach his second term, it has the second term down on the ground. And his second term was from 1937 to 1941. Again, on the walls of the memorial, you will find some of his famous quotes and sayings. Right over here is a gentleman, and he's listening to the radio. And basically, this is considered a fireside chat. Back in the day, the only way to communicate with the American people was through the radio. And they called it a fireside chat because they had radios in the living room, as well as some people had them in the kitchen. So this is the Great Depression era. So coming over here, you see the bread line, where people were lined up to get free bread. This room right here is one of the rooms where people take the most pictures. And again, on the walls, you see some of his quotes. Right over here, these are 2 farmers, a farmer and his wife. Because back during when Franklin Delano Roosevelt was president, they had the sand bowl back then, or dust bowl, and they didn't have a lot of crops. Crops were barren, so it's kind of showing that. So we're heading over to the third room. So on the walls, you'll kind of see all the acts that they put into place, or they tried to put into place. Really can't see that well right there. Over here. Reagan National isn't too far. again, another quote. Now, one thing about Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, he did not like war. So now, unfortunately, we're going to the era when the United States went to war. And that war would be World War II. Oh, really, Patricia? I wish a lot of people would do these kind of Facebook Lives and take us through the history in their cities. Now, normally when it's nice outside, they have water running through. But of course, it's wintertime, even though it's 69 degrees today. So there's no water. So this is the third term. The third term was 1941 to 1945. And again, like I said earlier, he hated war. So we must be the great arsenal of democracy, is what's on this wall. We have these rocks that are all out of order. Basically, this is symbolizing the war. Right here, this says, I hate. And then there's one that has war over there in the corner. So we're coming over here. Some more quotes. I have seen war. Oh, Stan, please do one in Atlanta. I think I must be the only black person on the face of the earth that has never been to Atlanta. Only to the Atlanta airport. Then this right here, this is a statue of Franklin Delano Roosevelt and his dog Fala. And again, he had polio, which left him wheelchair bound. He made his first wheelchair out of a kitchen chair and tricycle wheels. So I'm kind of bringing you around to the back so you can see that it was a kitchen chair and then the little tricycle wheels at the bottom. Now, a lot of people come and take pictures with this statue as well. As you can see, Fala's ears are gold on the top, and that only comes from people keep rubbing on the statues. So this is Fala, his little Scotty. Oh yes, Patricia, please do one of New York. Every time I go, it's always raining. And again, some of his quotes. So now we're going to walk over to the last room. And as you guys can, I don't know if you can see the monument in the background. And that body of water is the Tidal Basin, partially man-made, 10 feet deep. And this is his last term right here, the fourth term. That term goes from 1945. And the reason why it doesn't have an end date is because that was the year that he passed away, unfortunately. Here's some more quotes. I do need to make a trip. The only time I've been to Atlanta, like I said, I was stuck there overnight because I missed my last flight. So this is the last room, and on the wall, this is Franklin Delano Roosevelt's funeral procession. Oh, thanks, Eric. Get a little closer so you guys can see. Everybody was very sad because he was a very loved president. And they said even the horses look sad. Now down here there's no water, but when it's nice outside, they have water down here, and it's still water. And the reason why it's still is because that's the year he died. So now we're going around the corner. And there is going to be a statue of his wife. This is Delano Roosevelt. She's the only female to have a statue on a presidential monument. And as you see, she was the first United States citizen to become a delegate to the United Nations. And this is one of her sayings. I have to come back when the water is running, because it's beautiful when the water is running. So over here there's some steps. And I'm doing this for everyone that hasn't been to DC and might not ever be able to make it to DC. A lot of the history shows, they don't show all of this stuff. So on the steps is a timeline of everything about Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Yeah, Eleanor was a very powerful lady. She was very instrumental in putting Miss Frances Perkins in charge of the Department of Labor. Even though Franklin Delano Roosevelt put her into the cabinet, she was the first female to be in the presidential cabinet. But a lot of people say that Eleanor placed her there. And you know what Franklin said? I'd rather argue with Congress than argue with my wife. So we're walking over to the Tidal Basin. And I'm just doing this to show you how close all of the memorials are. You see across the water? And the water is the Tidal Basin, is the Jefferson Memorial. Beautiful sky out today. Have geese in the water. In the background, back here, that is the Mandarin Hotel. Angelina Jolie stayed there when she filmed Salt in DC. Hey Banks. That pointy building right there, the red one, that is the Smithsonian Castle. The basin is 10 feet deep, but I'm not going to jump in for you. This pointy building right here is Trump Hotel. It needs to be renamed to the home of the protests. And as we go to the left, that is the Washington Monument. Washington Monument is 555 feet tall, 5 1/8 inch. It is the tallest obelisk in the world. And I don't know if you guys can see at the bottom, it's a little bit lighter than the rest of the monument. And the reason is they started building it before the Civil War. Then they had to break for the Civil War. Then they came back after the Civil War to finish building it. Unfortunately, that stone was no longer available, so they had to use whatever is available. You know what, Banks? The funny thing is, I am a tour guide now. I've been doing it for a couple of months, and I love it. So across the water, in the background, under the trees over there, that is the Martin Luther King Memorial. Hey Missy, I know you're scared to drive to DC, so I'm going to dedicate this video to you. Everybody, it is crazy to drive in DC. So we're going to walk along the Tidal Basin. These trees right here, there's nothing on them yet, but these are the Japanese cherry blossom trees, and they bloom mid-March to mid-April. And we have our Japanese cherry blossom festival then, mid-March to mid-April. So I don't see anything. I don't know about you guys, but they need to hurry up, because 4 million people come to Washington, D.C. every year for the festival, just for the cherry blossoms. They also have people that they hire just to prune the cherry blossom trees. You're right, Banks. On the top of the monument, guys, there is an aluminum capsule, and it used to be on display at Tiffany's, and people used to jump over the top, saying that they jumped over the top of the monument. I would like to see them do that today. So we're leaving the Franklin Delano Roosevelt Memorial, which is on our left, and we're walking along the Tidal Basin. Thanks, Stan. See some orange buildings back here, orange rooftops. These are original buildings to DC, and that is the Department of Agriculture over there, or the USDA. Now in DC, if you have a historic building, you cannot change the outside. You can only change the inside. So if I sound a little winded, I don't know how those people on TV do it, guys. They walk up and down the street, they don't sound winded at all. I sound winded because I have my camera gear across me, which is really heavy. But over in the background, that's where we're going. See Martin Luther King? I'm trying to keep this steady. I don't have a tripod. That's where we're headed, to the Martin Luther King Memorial. As you can see, that's going to be a nice little walk over there. And again, all along the Tidal Basin. Yeah, well, yes, there is a Starbucks in DC with a gold dome. That's on 7th Street, though. I'm not near 7th Street right now. I'm kind of off of Constitution Avenue. And the Starbucks that has a gold dome is actually the old Farmers Insurance Company. And it's a historic building, so they can't change the outside. So again, FDR on our left-hand side. And thank you guys for walking with me. I appreciate it. And this is the end of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. I'm going to stop this one here, and I'm going to pick back up when I go over to Martin Luther King. See you soon.